What's going on, y'all? Five Sports Talk back at it with another video talking some NBA. And yes, I know I've been gone for a little bit. I was under the weather, as you can tell. Had to get myself right before I jump back into it, but here I am. I'm feeling better, so let's get right down to it. Talking about some of the sort of news that I didn't really get to when it happened, which was Kevin Durant hurting himself and getting ruled out for approximately 4 weeks with that MCL sprain and bone bruise, and basically talking about if the Warriors are in trouble, will they be okay? When is KD going to come back? And all of that sort of stuff. So, you know what? Let's just jump right into it. So, like I mentioned before, we do know the diagnosis now. It's an MCL sprain and a bone bruise for Kevin Durant, who is going to be reevaluated in 4 weeks. And that means reevaluated, so that doesn't mean immediate return, so it could be potentially longer than that. Now that would put 4 weeks, meaning around playoff time, first round. There were reports that he might be back for the last couple regular season games, but that, I think that's being really optimistic. I think what is more realistic is Kevin Durant probably either comes in the middle of the first round or misses the first round completely and is ready for the second round. Either way, it is still the best news possible for the Warriors, because Kevin Durant could have been out for the rest of the season, and there might have been your title hopes right there. And a lot of guys and analysts have said that if Kevin Durant is not there for the Warriors, like let's say if he wasn't there, they wouldn't even be able to get out the West. So it's crucial for them to have KD back as soon as possible. But like I said, this is the best case scenario for them. Now, in the meantime, what's going to happen with the Warriors? Can they hold down the fort? Right now, they're 50-11 as of this video, and they're 3 games ahead of the San Antonio Spurs. Now, they do have a couple games with the Spurs remaining, but the Spurs are right on their tail. So for them to hang on to this number one seed, it is no slight ease, because the Spurs are right there. They could certainly lose the number one seed, and they could drop down to 2. And the really scary part here is not the fact that they're dropping seeds, it's the matchups all change, right? So you might be matched up if you drop to 2 with a OKC team. And I'm not saying the Warriors would lose to the Thunder, but you see the way Russell Westbrook's playing, potential MVP candidate. He's been tearing it up, and you know he's going to want to beat the Warriors. So nobody wants to play OKC. Then you have a team like a Memphis, which is in that 6th spot around there as well. You don't want to play Memphis either, and especially this Warriors team, which has lost twice to Memphis already in the regular season. Their brand of basketball and their style just does not mesh well with Memphis. Memphis likes to slow it down, play half court, and force their style of basketball, and the Warriors just don't excel at that. So that's the bad part about falling here, is the Warriors really need to keep that number one seed, because whoever the 8th seed is, I think they would be able to beat them with ease, and so they wouldn't have to worry about a team like a Memphis or an OKC. Okay, here is why I'm slightly worried for the Warriors, and I do say slightly because they are the Warriors, and I still want to give them the respect. When they signed Kevin Durant this summer, I made a video on it about how many guys they had to sort of let go just to be able to afford KD. So they basically gave up their entire depth. Now, they had a lot of guys signed for the minimum, David West, etc., which obviously helped. But if you look at the roster right now, I mean, you got Curry, Livingston, Klay Thompson, Patrick McCaw, Ian Clark. Kevin Durant is out now. Iguodala, Draymond Green, David West, James Michael McAdoo, Pachulia, and JaVale McGee. And again, they just signed Matt Barnes, so there's depth as well with Matt Barnes. But you look at this roster, they don't have nearly the amount of playmakers they had last year, when they had guys like Festus Ezeli, Leandro Barbosa, Harrison Barnes, Maurice Spates. There was a lot of firepower coming off that bench, and that's the problem for the Warriors now, is when Klay, Steph, and Draymond have to take a breather, they don't have the same sort of firepower coming off the bench that they can sort of keep the momentum going. And so what I think needs to happen now is, if Steve Kerr really values that number one seed and he wants to keep that number one seed, he is going to have Steph and Klay and Draymond, particularly Steph, 1, go into MVP mode, and 2, play a lot of damn minutes because you don't want to have any chance of losing games, and you need your best players out there because, like I said, you don't have the depth that you did before like you did last year. So ultimately, what do I think happens? I do think the Warriors hang on to that number one seed, but barely. And the reason I say this is because I don't think Greg Popovich cares too much about the regular season. He's going to want to have his guys healthy in the final stretch of the season. And so the Spurs won't be sort of, jugging for that number one seed. As long as Popovich has his guys healthy, he's going to be happy with that. But here's the only concern. Again, you go into that first round, you face a team like the Nuggets, you're going to be fine without KD. But you face a team like a Memphis, like I mentioned, like an OKC, even the Pelicans, if they sneak in and they figure out how to play with Boogie Cousins and Anthony Davis, I think the Warriors would have a little bit of trouble with some of those teams. I could see them losing a series to Memphis. I could without KD because KD needs to be back by that first round for them to be able to have that complete shot. If KD is back by the second round, they have to sort of hold down the fort until he gets back. But with that being said, like I mentioned, I think they will be fine. I think they should be able to hang out with the number one seed because Popovich does not care enough for that. So let's see what happens. That is just what I think. Let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment down below. And as always, don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching.